Hello, students. Now we will start our March month current affairs of international relations. So, in the March month, in the first session, we will discuss international institutions, and in the second session, we will discuss country specific news, right? By some initiatives or some summits initiatives, and the bilateral ones. Now, before starting this session is going to be relatively very small because I feel till March month, this is the 10th month that we are doing. And with respect, especially with respect to international institutions, we have covered a lot of institutions till now, right? So please, again, as I told you in the February month also, please revise all the previous times we have done international institutions. One or two questions are every year they are asked from it. So they will be asked in all of, not outside this range that we have discussed, okay? If you have not seen the video, download the PDFs and try to see the video because I give some additional informations as well. Right, let us start. So we start with a very important institution, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Now I've already discussed that, not in this particular series, but I've discussed that in our erudite series when we were discussing about the budget. Okay, so why it was in the news? Because UK is confirmed as the, it is very important because it is launched in this previous year also, and secondly UK has confirmed as the co-chair along with India. Okay, so along with India, which will be the chair, co-chair, the CDRI will be chaired by the representative of the another nation government nominated by the rotation every 2 years. So every 2 years the co-chair will change. From the name itself, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. So coalition which wants to, coalition means it will be a voluntary, first of all it's a relatively voluntary in nature, not a very formal in nature, right? Formal structures are there, however it's a coalition. So coalition, you can see it will work with many majority of the stakeholders. Disaster resilient infrastructure, okay? And more importantly, why it is important for us, because after EISA, International Solar Alliance, this is the second international institution that is proposed by our Prime Minister. Okay, it was proposed at the United Nations Climate Summit 2019. We have already discussed Climate Summit of 2019. Okay, right. So as of March, around 15 members are there. The members will keep on increasing, right? Because as the members, it's a coalition. Slowly the countries will come in. In the founding members, so we have Australia, Bhutan, Fiji. I don't think the founding members are very important. Still have an eye over it. UK will always be there because UK is the co-chair. So if the question will be asked, the UK will always be there, and it will help you to eliminate at least 2 to 3 options. 2 options at least, not 3 options. That gives 2 answer. So let us discuss about it. So it's a voluntary international organization linking government, union agencies, private sector group, academia to develop the resilience of the infrastructure system to climate and the disaster risk. Okay, so as we discussed, the second major coalition launched by India outside of United Nations after International Solar Alliance. Now, as I told you, I've already discussed in our budget session. So in the caring society, one of the 3 pillars in the budget, they have discussed about CDRI. Obviously they will discuss about CDRI, how much we have committed, right? So CDRI is a developing disaster resilient in the ecological, social and economical infrastructure, right? So substantial change in the member country, we will see. So basically it has a threefold agenda, threefold impact it seeks to achieve. First impact it seeks to achieve is considerable change in the member country's policy framework. So if a country joins in, it focuses on the disaster resilience within its own country's infrastructure in the policy. Second, the future infrastructure investments. So future investments in the infrastructure which are resilient. And thirdly, high reduction in the economic losses from the climate related event. Finally, the objective is obviously to save the many lives as well as assets from the disasters. Now the trend, if you read disaster management detail in the mains, so one trend is there that over the period of time we have reduced the number of lives from the disaster. However, the loss of the assets and the livelihood is increasing because people are shifting to more high vulnerability areas. Okay, less resilience area, for example coastal areas or hilly region. For example, a good example is Uttarakhand floods, right? It was built because of the lot of structures have been built on a very fragile ecosystem. Okay, Right. So this clipping is taken directly from your economic survey. So very authentic. Next is ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. So it is one of the United Nations specialized agency. I think we have covered majority of the United Nations specialized agency. We'll cover one more here also. Okay, so International Civil Aviation Organization. So it becomes important, especially in the context of the COVID-19, when the international traffic has virtually came to an halt. Right, domestic one in India has recently started. So the idea, it coordinates and regulates the international air travel. It codifies the principle and the techniques of the international air navigation system, and very generic things. You need to know the headquarters. So headquarters is in the Montreal, Canada. Okay, it is based upon the Chicago Convention. Not very important because it's not in current affairs. It's an old one, established in 1944 in the Montreal, and under which convention, Chicago Convention, it was set up. Next is International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. So this particular center has the laboratory in India also, along with in Italy and the South Africa. It's an autonomous body since 1994. Right, it started as a project of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. This is another one of the specialized agency of the United Nations. We'll see that. I have kept the notes. Okay. So they are in the news because of the COVID-19, right? Many of the laboratories are coming into picture to help with the scientific community to search on various topics on related to biomedicine, right? Because we need all around efforts to find solutions to this COVID-19. Okay. If the question will come, so question will come more or less upon which organization it is and where the laboratories are. If this question comes, I'm telling you, it will be a very easy question. For example, it will ask, it's a UN based body, right? And second question can be very generic. It is related to some biomedicine or something. So that will be right, and it is not UN based. So it will be a very easy question if they ask this question. Next is United Nations Industrial Development Organization, right? That we have discussed. We have given reference to it beforehand. So it's a member of the UNDP, United Nations Development Program. It's an specialized agency of the United Nations that promotes, from the name itself, industrial development. That promotes industrial development for what purpose? Poverty reduction, inclusive globalization, and the environmental sustainability. Okay. So this is United Nations Industrial Development Organization. Next institutions we're going to see, Asia Pacific Group. Now in the February month we have discussed about FATF. Right. It is similar to that organization. It has its it is a very different, not very different, but organization which work on the similar lines, having countries in the Asia domain. So why it is in the news? Because it has put Pakistan into the blacklist. Okay. Now in FATF, you know that FATF Pakistan is in the grey list. It was on the verge of being onto the blacklist. We have discussed about dark grey list also. Okay. In the February month we have discussed FATF in detail. So Asia Pacific Group for Money Laundering is an intergovernmental organization working obviously to implement international standards for prevention of the money laundering and the terrorist financing. Okay, so it's an evolution of the FATF Asia Secretariat, and finally this particular group has been formed. India is a member of it. In fact, it is said to be India's diplomacy to put pressure on the Pakistan, indirect pressure to put on Pakistan to limit its terrorist activities. Okay. Next institution we're going to discuss, it keeps on propping up in the news. That is why I'm discussing is International Cooperation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So this institution, it was very much in news in 2016-2017 because around that time in March 2016, ICANN and DOC have signed an historic agreement to remove ICANN from US jurisdiction. Department of Commerce, DOC is Department of Commerce of USA. So jurisdiction of US has reduced from it has made an free organization. So multi-stakeholder governance is happening over internet. Earlier the US has the jurisdiction over this body. Now what this body does, it oversees the implementation of the domain names. Okay, so what are the domain names? Basically this is the, for example, this is the address of your website. This is the address of your website. This is the domain name. Okay, this one. So it takes care of the domain name. So it's a global multi-stakeholder private sector led organization. For earlier it was government dominated. DOC has the jurisdiction over it. Now it has no jurisdiction. So now internet is said to be one of the is free. Earlier, US has a jurisdiction over it. Okay. So just remember, there is no country which has jurisdiction over it. It focuses on the multi-stakeholder governance of the internet. Okay. Next is IOC, that is Indian Ocean Commission, and it is also known as COI. It is named in French, that is COI. So India is approved as an observer of the Indian Ocean Commission. Okay, so first of all, remember, India is not a member of Indian Ocean Commission. Indian Ocean Commission consists of these 5 countries. If you remember, all these 5 countries are part also of the Vanilla Island that we have discussed in the one of the 2 places in news, February or March month. Okay, so it's an intergovernmental organization created in 1982, institutionalized in 1984, not very important, composed of 5 African Indian Ocean nations. So Comoros, Madagascar, Reunion, and Seychelles. Please see the location of all these in our place in news. So I've covered in detail all the Vanilla Islands. Okay, one by one also and together also. So the idea of this particular organization, Indian Ocean Commission, is to provide a platform for solidarity of the this population of the Indian Ocean region. We have also told why Vanilla Island has come up, right, to develop themselves as a tourist spot, to come up as a solidarity, because this is one of the Indian Ocean is one of the place where the international what we say arena of the international diplomacy or international tug of war between many of the nations, India, China, France, USA, UK, all the stakeholders are there. Now Reunion, Reunion is a French territory. We already discussed about Reunion also. Okay, so objective, as we discussed, political and diplomatic cooperation, economic and commercial cooperation, sustainable development, and all these are there. Now, what is the significance of India being an observer state? First of all, it goes to show the cooperation between India and France. Secondly, it is a part of India's Indo-Pacific strategy. All these points are related to me. It's just highlighting. We have discussed Indo-Pacific multiple times throughout our discussion. This is around 10th hour of international relations, right? So we have discussed a lot of international relations till now, right? So Indo-Pacific I have kept mentioning many times because India considered Indian Ocean as its strategic backyard, and why it is very important to India, for India to have has keep its vigilance in the Indian Ocean because of the string of pearls of China and many topics. Right, so it goes to show our deepening strategic partnership with France as well as with the Vanilla Islands. Right, so India's application to the observer state, now we have become the observer state of this particular thing. Okay, so the last topic of that today is virtual G20 summit. So in the context of the COVID-19 crisis, virtual G20 summits have happened because we have already discussed G20 in detail. For example, G20 consists of the G20 we have already discussed. So G20 consists of the 65% of the population, 79% of the world trade, 80%, 4% of the economy. We have already discussed the trick to remember the G20 countries, G7, BRICS, EU sat together for achieving the aims. So all the 19 country plus EU we have read, right? So this is G20. Now G20, so this virtual summit happened in the context of the COVID summit. Now as the data I've shared, similarly, Prime Minister says around 90% of the COVID cases and 88% of the death are also in the G20 countries. And that is why it is incumbent upon these countries to work for to come up and work together, right? So, which country is currently holding the presidency of this G20? It is Saudi Arabia. Okay, so in the November month, Saudi Arabia, the summit is going to happen. So we have read about previous G20 summit that happened in Osaka, Japan. Okay, so this you can see world's top 20 countries were hosted by the Saudi king Salman bin Saud. Okay, so what they have decided, basically they have decided to inject around $5 trillion in the global economy. Right, so you can see stimulus package going around every country. US has injected around $2 trillion in their economy. Then they will contribute to the Solidarity Response Fund, WHO. So we'll discuss about Solidarity Response Fund in our March 2nd video. So WHO Solidarity Response Fund. Then the leaders agreed to have more interaction before the Riyadh summit happens in the November 2020. So in the November 2020, they are scheduled to have this Riyadh summit, okay, of the G20. So with this, we finish our session. Let us quickly revise what we have read. So we started with the coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure, right? Very important. After ISA, second institution to be in India at headquarter. New Delhi will be the headquarter, right? Gurugram is the headquarter of the ISA. Then in the budget also we have read about the threefold impact what they want to achieve. The institution becomes really important for pre as well as for the mains. Okay, for mains also it becomes important what is a disaster resilient infrastructure and how CDRI can help to achieve all this. Then ICAO Montreal, headquarter in Montreal 1944, right? In the COVID they are becoming important. All the international institutions become very important in the context of the COVID-19 crisis. Then International Center for the Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, right? Currently an autonomous body. Then Specialized Agency of United Nations, that is UNIDO. Then Asia Pacific Group, we have discussed, put Pakistan into the blacklist. Now it was not a current affair. It was not in the March month. It was back in the August month, but I've missed it out. That is why I've covered it. Then ICANN, non-profit organization, not under DOC. Then Indian Ocean Commission. So India approved as the observer of Indian Ocean Commission. Then finally we ended with the virtual G20 summit. Okay, so with this we finish our session. Please download all the PDFs from our Telegram group. If you have any specific doubt or any specific concern with respect to the content, and if you want us to explain something more like any other topic, please message me. I'll try to incorporate it in somewhere in our coming videos. Okay, so with this I finish this session, everyone. So this is the March 1 International Affair 1 in the March month. I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye for now.